Yep, that works. If that doesn't shift her cold, nothing will. Ah. Mrs. Brannigan, I have your cold remedy. Can I come in?
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed. I am a vampire, born anew into an age of death and pestilence. While plotting factions close in around me, I am sworn to find the source of this epidemic. I am convinced greater perils are still to come. I know the answers I seek are hiding in our blood.
What? I didn't do anything. The very first thing you'll see is the disclaimer, saying that you shouldn't go mixing any of the medical cures in this game yourself. You know, because some people are fucking stupid enough to try. The game uses Destiny's cursor system in the menus. That was my first red flag. The voice acting is not all that convincing. I mean, compare this.
Mary.
With this.
Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. 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 Please.
Bit of a difference there.
Mary, I'm sorry. Whoever did this to us, I will find them.
Try looking in a mirror, dumbass. Wait, can vampires see themselves in mirrors here? Yes, he can see himself in a mirror. This guy has a serious case of Kratos syndrome. The graphics are not that great. Kinda looks like a last-gen game, and that's pushing the definition. The audio cuts out during the startup sequence. It cuts off at the end of this sentence.
I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
It's fair to say this game does not make a good first impression. Sound glitches are actually pretty rare, but visual glitches abound. And because the combat is overly reliant on your melee attack and your dodge to begin with, you haven't got many powers at the beginning. For the first 2 hours, this game is actually pretty dull. Stick with it. Very quickly, this game will remind you of Dishonored, the dimly lit city at night, the plague, the rats, the monsters, the soldiers, the choices over citizens' fates. You get some equipment to help you get started. You get a machete, a stake, a revolver, and about half an hour in you'll gain access to your superpowers. You'll be able to gain access to the healing ability straight away, and then you'll have to pick a single offensive power between the close range claws, or the long range tendril strike, or a dark explosion you can summon at a distance. Which is my favourite power, and is so my favourite I can't remember what it's called. But there are a lot of nifty little abilities here, like coagulation, which freezes the blood in the enemy's veins and they can't move, which for a few seconds, but it's quite an advantage to have. you've got a blood shield, you've got ultimates in this game, which take ages to recharge, but they're very powerful. Your power's usually fueled by your blood gauge, but not every power uses them. Your ultimates, for example, and coagulation don't cost any blood to use, hence the longer cooldown timer. Now your weapons don't drop as if they're Borderlands loot. If you pick up a weapon, that weapon will see you through to the end of the game. Seriously, they start at level 1 and can go as high as level 5. Well, most of them can. One of my favourite backup weapons was the Liston knife, which is like this surgeon's knife, and you strike the enemy and it doesn't do as much damage, but it bleeds the target and it recovers your blood gauge that much more quickly. Each level upgrade of most of the weapons can be upgraded with one or the other abilities. So for example, the Liston knife, of course I upgraded its blood draining ability.
Fucking beast! Mine! Kill it all you deserve! I'll send you down!
In addition, each one of your powers has 2 upgrade branches at level 3 that you can go down. For example, the Dark Explosion power, which is my favourite and I can't remember the name of, that can be upgraded to have a much bigger explosion radius and more power. Or you can upgrade it to this Dark Swirling Cloud, which drains the health of everyone stood in it and leeches blood out of them. Which is a great way, if you're like me and using your powers all the time, it's a great way to recharge your blood gauge. Every single one of your powers has this 2-branch upgrade system. What's quite impressive in this game is that almost every single person you encounter, you can talk to. As in, you can hold a proper conversation. You know all those NPCs that populate the space stations in Mass Effect and all the locals in The Witcher 3? Most of them just have like a single line when you interact with them. Pretty much everybody in this game is fully voiced, and you can choose different conversation options. And there is a point to this, because you're a vampire, and obviously that means you can bite people. If they're a citizen though, to maintain your cover, you can't just pounce on them. What you have to do is quietly lead them to a dark corner, and then you can feed on them sneakily without anybody else noticing. But the thing is that when you first encounter them, they'll have a certain blood level. And their blood level dictates how much XP you get, how many experience points you get when you drain them. So if you bite them straight away, you get a certain lump of XP. But if you engage them in conversation, if you engage other people in conversation about them, if you find certain personal objects scattered around the game, it can unlock hints. And every hint you unlock from this person increases their blood level, their blood quality, and increases the amount of XP you get when you drain them.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
First, I was an orphan in the institution for girls she manages in the West End. When I was 10, she adopted me, and I have lived with her ever since.
Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you?
Though I suspected the truth for a long time before that.
If a citizen falls ill, however, it drains their maximum blood gauge. It drains the amount of XP you get when you bite them. So if you're a vampire, if you're an aggressive vampire who feeds on everybody, you've got to keep them healthy, as well as finding those precious hints to increase their supply. In addition, each citizen's blood gauge, their state of health, contributes to the health status of the entire region. And if the health status of the region drops to hostile, yeah, the citizens can take an instant dislike to you and start shooting you at every opportunity, or they just turn into monsters and try to claw your face off, something like that. So it's in your own interest to keep the regions healthy, and therefore you have to keep the citizens healthy. Not just to benefit from their blood XP level, but also so you don't get attacked down every bloody alleyway.
Come to me, Jonathan.
And if that wasn't enough for you, citizens can frequently have a quest for you to complete, which again rewards you with XP. You get XP for finding hints, you get XP for draining them of their blood, you get XP for quests, although if you kill them, you can't turn the quest in. So if you want maximum XP in this game, and you don't mind draining the citizens of their blood, you don't mind the health level of the region decreasing, then you have to make sure that you talk to everybody, get to know them, engage them in conversation, try to say the right things to draw those precious hints out of them to maximise the level, and complete their individual quests as well. Even if you want to be an aggressive vampire, if you want maximum XP, you've still got to put a serious amount of work into these people.
I have found Samuel, your disciple. I am afraid I have bad news.
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now. The epidemic took him.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
And then there's this interesting little wrinkle. You earn XP, but you don't level up. Not while earning it. What you do is you earn the XP, it goes into an XP pool, and the points stay accumulated, but then you have to sleep in a bed to spend them on your abilities. And it's when you spend them on your abilities, that's when your level goes up. So you might think to yourself, sleep in a bed every opportunity. I'll sleep in a bed every 5-10 minutes. Keep my level topped up. Just one small problem. Every time you sleep in a bed, it advances to the next day. And the status of the district advances by 1 day. Illnesses that people have contracted get worse, and thus the district's health level drops. I'll say it again, you need to be ready for the visual flaws in this game. They're all over the place. Throughout you'll see screen tearing, backgrounds popping in. Once an enemy's position glitched as they attacked. And then there was this little gem. The designers had literally forgotten to finish the level. And finally, but not necessarily comprehensively, the enemy doesn't always acknowledge your presence. Look, you can clearly see me, you're turning to track me. Finally you saw me. Now this game took me about 32 hours to play through from start to finish. That's doing the whole of the main quest line, obviously, most of the side quests, and I was constantly keeping up with the health level of the citizens, trying to make sure the districts didn't get out of control, because I was being a goody two-shoes doctor. I didn't bite anybody on my first playthrough, you see. So constantly keeping... By the way, if you don't bite anybody, if you don't get the bonus XP from the citizens, doesn't matter. You can keep up with the enemy level. Well, not quite, but your superpowers are pretty powerful, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Despite all the visual issues and the occasional audio hiccup, I really liked this game. After the first 2 hours, that's the slow bit. But once you're at the hospital and the game sort of opens up to you a little bit more, you can kind of have fun with it then. The conversations, the characters, everything like that is great. It's got a solid foundation. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Its foundation, the basic design of the game is good, it's excellent. It's just a pity that it's got so many flaws in it. Oh yeah, and there's the Hunter's Heirloom DLC as well. It's £2.50 from the PlayStation Store, and you get a sword, a pistol, and an alternate outfit. The alternate outfit isn't any different colour-wise, and the style of the jacket's a bit different, and there's a bowler hat. I thought it looked daft. The pistol isn't much better than a standard revolver, and the sword, Dragonbane, that was actually good until I got to the theatre and obtained the scimitar. At which point, as far as I'm concerned anyway, the scimitar outclassed Dragonbane. But for £2.50, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not really worth it. You don't need them, like all DLC extra weapons and costumes. You don't need it. You just don't. I'm going to give Vampyr, this game, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a good game, is this. I had issues with it at first, a bit slow to get going. That first 2 hour period, that's when I was having misgivings. After a while though, it grew on me, and I started to get into what it was doing. All the different conversations with pretty much everybody you meet, finding out the different hints, going on the extra quests. The combat at first, again, is a bit stale because you have to rely on your sword strikes and your dodges. After a while you'll build up a supply of powers which will let you blow the enemy away and recover your blood in various ways. That's when it gets fun, when you get past that 2 hour mark. If you can get past there, this is a good game, despite all of the visual glitches and the odd audio one. It's not the best well-made game, let's be honest. It could have done with more time in the cooker, but I liked it for what it was, and I'd probably recommend it. So that was Vampyr, potato, tomato, whichever it is. That was this game. It's a 7 out of 10, good game. I'd recommend it unless you're the kind of person, unless you're a graphics snob. If you're a graphics snob, stay well away. If you need 1080 and 60 frames a second, god damn it, stay well away. It's gonna piss you off something royal. But there is a good game here if you can get past that initial 2 hours and get into the combat system. Okay, that's it. What did you think of my video? Leave a like or dislike down below. What did you think of the game? Or Has my talk of glitches put you off it for life? Leave a comment down below. And for those of you who, for some reason, can't get enough of my voice, you can always hit the subscribe button. See you next time. At the beginning, you'll get a steak. At the beginning of the game, you'll get a steak. Shit steak. A shit steak. It's a machete. It's a machete that you get first. The steak comes afterwards. It's just one of those days. God, I'm going to sweat to death if I don't hurry up. Bloody hell. I feel like I'm going for a bloody interview. Because I didn't put the shoes on. I hate shoes. I hate proper trouser suit shoes. Hate them. Hate ties. I'm not a fan of shirts. I don't like belts. Actually, I don't like anything I'm wearing except for the scarf and the coat. The coat I quite like. Okay, now I am sweating.